Thank you. So I've talked to a few of you already, and I probably already know this, but number of business owners in the house? Yes? Hands up. Love it. How many of you are planning on selling your business? We got 2, 3, 4. How many of you should be planning on selling your business? Well, probably all of you at some point. As John mentioned, we're going to exit at some point. But why don't business owners plan to exit? What stops them? What are their excuses? Anybody have one? What do you hear?
Dependency, don't know how.
Don't know how? Sure. Too busy? Do you get like, oh, we're too busy. We're growing, too busy to focus on that? What? Don't know where to start. Yeah. So a lot of times they don't even know that it's a longer process than it is, right, Lawrence? But for us, like we're growing too fast. Like we'll do it when things slow down. Well, when things slow down, you're probably cutting your budget. You're not going to invest in your business. And the fact of the matter is, if you're growing revenue, but your business has broken systems and toxic culture, what happens when you feed more revenue through that? You amplify problems, not profit. And so if you're not systemized at the singular level, then you just create more problems. Anybody spend their time fighting fires within their business, right? Because you've amplified problems, not profit. The other thing we hear is like, well, we're not planning on selling anytime soon. How long was the process, Lawrence?
It depends on what you mean by process, because if you think of that, we had people talking to us 5 years, 6 years ago, and some of those were valid and some of those were frankly a waste of time. But it also got us thinking that the actual process of when we really started getting into it probably took 18 months, and now it's another 18 months after.
And so that was when you started getting serious.
Yes.
And before that, you were kissing some frogs, you told me.
Yeah.
And then,
but they were all one-night stands.
oh, one-night stands. Oh, and we're going to get into this because I love analogies, okay? The other thing we hear is we can do it ourselves. All the stuff to get prepared and plan, we can do it ourselves, okay? And they give it to somebody on the side of their desk. And half-assed efforts get half-assed results. And that person has a full-time job, so if they're not focused on it, it is not their strength, it's not their strategy. And so there's opportunity to get, and you said this, you got an advisor. Your daughter told you.
Yes.
Go get an advisor. Get somebody to help you start the process. This was one of our mistakes, my mistakes, and I'll admit, I fell in love, deep in love with my company. So in love with the offer, what my brand was, the logo, the colors. I was in love networking and building relationships. And it was, great. It's been a 7-year, 30% growth year over year. Very exciting, especially during these hard economic times in the past, what we've gone through. Seeing that growth for Rental Solutions was amazing. We spent our time with over 200 clients, helping them to align their process, their brand, and maximize their profits in their business, to increase their sell appeal. Not their sex appeal, their sell appeal, right? So here I was, head down, in the grind, building teams, hunting for unicorns to hire, and I got, kind of a reality check. My hair started falling out, I started gaining weight, my nails were literally peeling off my hands. So I went to the doctor, what the heck? And I got diagnosed with depression. Now, for those of you who know me, you could probably attest to this, Adam, but I have an inappropriate amount of optimism and positivity. So to be diagnosed with depression was really a smack in the face. And I realized that, yes, I had a lot going on in my business with contracts being delayed and canceled, and all of a sudden you're shrinking and then growing and then shrinking and growing. I wasn't set up for success in my business, and I definitely wasn't looking at it long term, because what if I couldn't keep going? What if this was it? What if Adam wants out? He doesn't, though, just so you know. But what if he does? What is our plan? Gosh, we were so naive. We didn't have a shareholders agreement, right? And so as only two engineers can, when we realized we didn't know anything about this, we're like, we need to learn everything. So we took courses, we went down to the States, we learned from mentors. We were like, what is it we need to do? What is the piece that we're missing in our business to give us that long-term exit strategy and to build it into our business? So like I said, I love analogies. Selling your brand is totally like dating, right? It's like finding two parties who like each other enough that they want to get involved. With a show of hands, though, I want to know, we're going to talk a little bit about different buying strategies. How many of you would consider a lights-off buyer for your business? This is somebody who's coming in to buy your company and they're going to dismantle it. They're going to sell off the pieces or parts, or they're going to close you, shelf you completely. No? Okay. Everybody else wants a lights-on buyer then, is that correct? Somebody to keep the legacy going, the brand going. It might be internal. Maybe it's the next generation coming through. Maybe you have a really good leadership team that they want to buy you out. Or maybe it's an external lights-on company that wants to see you scale to the next level for the next acquisition and the next acquisition. Well, I have good news. No matter what your strategy is, and I love that you're all lights-on buyers because that's so my jam, what we're going to talk about today is going to be relevant for either type of exit strategy in your business. So what did we learn? All these things that we've learned from our mentors down in the States and what we were doing for our companies already, it comes down to three things. People, process, profit. So if you remember one thing from my talk, and I gave you a handout in case you didn't even feel like writing it down or you didn't have a pen today, it's people, process, profit. So we're going to start with your greatest asset, which is your people. Heck yeah, it's your people. Love it. This is your sex appeal, guys. Okay? Are you beautiful on the inside and on the out, right? Are you attractive? Are you attractive to your employees that might be coming on? Are you attracting talent? Are you attracting client? Are you attracting buyers? And then it's your culture. Once you secured that first date, they swiped right? Okay, I'll see you. Are you like a ton of baggage on the inside? Are you walking into a toxic culture? Or are you set up so that you can easily walk out of the business and have it run? So how many people think brand is important? My girl, right here. Tell me why brand's important.
It's your identity. It's why people connect with you, why they're going to spend more money with you than they would with someone else.
It's also why they'll give you more money if they're going to buy you, give you an opportunity. So I love this because if you don't think your clients, your potential employees, or your potential buyers aren't creeping you, they are so creeping you. How many creepers, how many people you go look at people's profiles, LinkedIn profiles, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm all the time like, what are you up to? What'd you do? What's your background? Constantly. They're creeping you. They're creeping your website, their social media, your key leadership. They're looking at what they're posting about because this is a relationship. And so when you do get bought out, you're going to go on dates with these guys or girls, right? They're literally going to take you out for dinner. That's not a fun dinner. That's a dating interview. Are you marriage material? Okay. So we had a client, which I want to tell you about because they were so pissed off. We were talking to their leadership team, and they were so angry. Their competitor just got bought out. And they're like, we're better than they are. We do work way better with their engineering firm. We're so much better. Our project teams operate so much better. They're like, we're better. I said, okay, but do they know about you? And they're like, well, no, we don't. They just had better website and social media they posted. These guys didn't even get a seat at the table. They weren't even in the thought of the buyers whatsoever because nobody knows about them. You cannot be a success and a secret at the same time. So your brand matters. We had another client, and this one just it's so cringy. Their website was so old. When they would post a job on Indeed, they would get phone calls to the number that they posted asking if it was a scam. Yep. Indeed was like, guys, we're getting reports that this is like possibly a scam post. No, it's not a scam. Their website was so bad. Their brand reputation was on the floor. Like they couldn't even attract top talent. Your brand matters. It's the perception of what people think you are on the inside. So let's talk about the inside. This is your culture. And so, ever been on a date and it was like, oh yeah, I'm super excited for this date, really hot, you know? And then you get there and they're like trying to figure out what your excuse is to leave after the first appetizer because the person is like an emotional baggage wreck, okay? The reason why buyers do not want toxic cultures is because this statistic. For lights on buyers, when they buy a company, 70% of the key people leave within the first 3 years. 70% of the key people leave within the first 3 years. How much does it cost to replace key personnel conservatively? How much?
A lot.
How much? Any guesses? Higher. 150 grand. I would say that's pretty close if you're giving a salary of about 60K. That is time in creating a job posting and doing interviews and going through all of those resumes. That's time in getting the managers involved. That's time in negotiating contracts. And it's 3 months ramp up time. How many of your employees ramp up in 3 months? Okay, $160,000 to replace a key personnel. Now, what do you think your buyer's gonna do if 70% of them are leaving in the next 3 years? What are they holding back? I wanna play a little game. Can I have a volunteer? Who's my volunteer?
Me?
Hi, Murtaza.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, you're my volunteer. Let's play a little game. Pretend like you have lots of money and you're gonna buy this company that I mentioned or not buy them. Oh, good, he doesn't have to pretend. Excellent. Yes. All right, Murtaza. Would you buy Uber?
No,
Why not?
I just don't think they have a sustainable model yet.
You don't think they have a sustainable model? Broken processes?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. Did you also know they have a broken culture?
From what I hear, yeah.
Yeah. They have allowed a culture of toxicity and harassment, and they've tolerated it within their company. They have executive leadership walking out the door and resigning, okay? So anybody who would go and look at buying them or valuing this company, they're holding that money back, right? So, hey, maybe you'll buy them, but you know, it's just like, we got some real estate people. Where's my real estate people who own real estate? Yeah. Do you want to buy a project to fixer upper? Do you want to buy a surprise? Ah. So what happens when you go in and you're like, oh, she's a fixer upper? What do? Because you're going to do what to the offer? You're going to pay less. Guys, your business is the same. It is no different. So people do not want to walk into a surprise. They're going to dig. They're going to come and date you and find out about your culture. They don't want surprises. And if they're going to come in and clean house, then you know they're keeping that money in their pocket, not yours. So if you're a business owner, you want to maximize that offer, your culture is going to matter. Not only that, it takes a team of people to get your business sale ready. It's a lot of work, right, Lawrence? We had the client, we had this, okay, how many people think, I want to imagine your company. How many people think they have a good company culture? Okay, think about what makes it good. What makes it good? Does anybody have something that makes their culture good? The leaders. What do they do that makes your culture good?
They lead by example.
Do what you say what you do. I love that. Absolutely. I hear so many times, like, oh, well, we got summer barbecues. They're really fun. We have a social committee. These things are nice. They will not create a culture. Your culture has to be in everything you say and everything you do. It has to be in the behaviors. I'm going to say this twice because it's so important. Your values are the behaviors that show up in your company. The values are the behaviors that show up in your company. They are not what's on the wall. It's what shows up in your company. And let's be honest, it is not the wall's job to hold the values up, correct? It's the leaders. It's like I planted you there. That was perfect. That was like a great response. We had a client in Ontario, and they're a manufacturing construction company. They were like so proud to have us come to a tour, and their facilities, you could tell it was like the tour that they give the new employee, right? They come in, and they're here's our front office and our beautiful stairs, and here we come up, and this is our gym in our office. Well, you don't know this, but I'm a certified auditor. Okay, so I'm like the Sherlock Holmes of business crime. And I go in and I was like, this is really pretty. And I look on the wall on their pin board and all the printouts. And it was from 5 years ago, these workout printouts. So I said to them, how many people use your gym? And they got really quiet. Because there's no behavior. Leadership wasn't doing anything about that. Could they have made that part of their processes? Could they have had meetings in there? You know what? They were owned by 4 owners. All 4 of them secretly told me that they wish they could use the gym, but they didn't want the other ones to judge them. It's like, guys. So it's not those big things. It's the little everyday things in your culture. Who wants to buy Pixar? If we could buy Pixar, would somebody want to buy Pixar? Do you know what Pixar is? Come on. Where's the people with kids here? You'll buy Pixar. What do you like about Pixar?
I was thinking about it without Disney ownership.
Yeah. Let's kick Disney out of here.
Innovative storytellers. They came up with ways to pull on the heartstrings that were few and far between in other movies.
Yep. Creative. It was actually funded by Steve Jobs. Did you know that?
Yep.
And it was like a computer company that had a graphics department that turned into Pixar. But what they did differently is they created a psychologically safe workplace where people could challenge status quo, take risks, and have really difficult conversations about what they were building. They created a culture of innovation. That meant a $7.4 billion buyout by Disney. Disney actually came in and tried to change how Pixar ran, and they broke Pixar. And then they had to step away and be like, never mind, be yourselves. It was working so well for what they were doing. Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles. Like the names that they have brought out in the Disney movies, I got little kids, man, so like they're all over these things. Culture matters. It's going to drive results in your business. That Ontario company I told you about where they had the gym, we actually came in and we did some process and people work for them. We increased their flow through productivity by 60%. There is money in your business. So, with an engaged culture, higher profitability to begin with. This statistic is a beautiful one, 65% greater profitability with an engaged culture. 65% greater profitability with an engaged culture. Sound good? So, your brand and your culture are your people. Your culture is how your people are going to show up and behave. It's your attention. It's your innovation that happens. It is the way that they show up for your business. And then your brand is your people, the perception of it. Perception of who you are. It's your identity. It's what people think you are. And nothing is more beautiful than when your brand and your culture align. So people walk into your business and they go, what you see is what you get. Nobody likes a rug pull, right? Especially employees. So you can retain top talent, attract top clients, attract top buyers with your culture. That's people. Process. Process. How many people can their business run without them? Yeah, completely? 100%.
Sharon's in the office right now.
I see you, John. How many people could have their business run without them for a month? Yeah? How many people could have their business run without them for 2 weeks? 2 weeks? A little bit more? 3 days? Yeah, if you are critical to your business, you will have to be part of the deal, right? You were already succession planning yourself out, and you were still part of the deal. It's going to be time. But if you are critical, if you're a critical point of failure in your business, you're going to be handcuffed to the deal, whether you want to or not. Now, you may want to, and there's a huge trend of roll-ups going on right now where people are selling earlier in their career and then taking the money, reinvesting back into their own company, staying on for the next sale. Everybody hear about roll-ups happening? Is it going to be a huge wealth transition in our economy because there's a lot of people who want to get out? So you can plan early and you could get a buyout 2 or 3 times before you're even ready to retire. This is why we're starting now. But if you have not systemized and optimized your business, not only are you leaving profitability stuck in your business, but you're not going to get the offers that you want because you're handcuffed to that company. So let's talk about systemization. This is your processes and your tools. And it has to run irrelevant of any key personnel, right? So that people can go on vacation and people can actually step away from the job without your business falling down. So I was hired on by an oil and gas engineering firm to look at their acquisition processes and do some alignments and optimization. Well, because I'm Sherlock Holmes of the business world, I go in and I start digging through data and I find this little red flag. Remember we're dating? Oh, little red flags go up and I'm like, ooh, what does an auditor do when they find a little red flag? We dig. Oh yeah, baby, that's where we get into it. You can see us, we get excited. Okay, so little red flag goes up. There is a project that missed a major milestone. And I was like, wonder why. So I started digging. I even got yelled at, oil and gas. Pulled me out into the hall so everybody could see and they tore a strip off me. Why are you digging into this? And I was like, let me ask you some questions around this. What had happened is that they had a single person who could only do this one specific deliverable in stress analysis. Single person. And they're like, that person was sick. That's why we missed the deliverable. I said, okay, I'm really sorry to hear that, but why didn't somebody take over for them? All the files were on her computer. Okay, so why couldn't we just figure out a way to get her computer? Well, she has cancer, Caitlin. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, that's heartbreaking. And I'm not meaning to be insensitive, but if she has cancer, this is a long-term issue. She's not coming back, guys, anytime soon. I said, the next 30 projects have this deliverable on their milestones, on the critical path. What are we doing? This one person held the keys to the kingdom. And so one dissatisfied project manager on the client side was going to be 30. Then what happens to reputation? Then what happens to profitability? Then what happens to the next jobs that they're building? So do you have critical points of failure in your business? What about, you want to be a buyer?
Sure.
All right. Do you want to buy Boeing?
No.
Oh, poor Boeing. No. Why not?
Because of the amount of awful things in the media about Boeing.
That's brand perception. And what happened was they had significant process issues and not enough oversight into their processes that led to those fatalities. That incident for the 737 MAX dropped their value by $40 billion. Reputation matters, brand matters, processes matter, okay? So now that we're all systemized and our business has processes, we're gonna optimize. So when you optimize, you're looking at maybe doing a process mapping analysis, and if you like to geek out like Adam and I, we just love getting into a good process map. But you're gonna look at where there's efficiencies. You're gonna look at where the ball drops, where the information doesn't flow into your business and it's not adding value. You're gonna look at how you can make those efficient. Then you're gonna take automation, and IT comes involved here, and we're going to automate the steps that are unnecessary. And we're gonna use things like John uses AI, right? Your AI tools.
RBC says I don't need that.
Oh, yeah. How many people are using AI already in their business? Good. If you're not, started. If your hand did not go up, start now. You're behind, okay? So systemize and optimize. And then the last P, guys, is profit. And this one is actually a result of your people and your process. Your profit needs to be clean and clear. And what do I mean by clean and clear? We went down and got to work with Adam Coffey, who I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's written a bunch of books on exits, but he also has done over $2.5 billion in exits. Okay? And this is what he says about profits. The 30-20-10 rule. 30% gross profit, 20% SG&A, 10% net profit at a minimum. And then a year over year, 30% growth. That's what he looks for. So get your profits clean. And what do I mean by clear? As entrepreneurs and business owners, we tend to put things in our business profits to minimize our taxes, right? We don't want to pay all those taxes. And maybe we take a retreat, a leadership retreat that goes on the books, right? Your buyer isn't going to do those things. Maybe your buyer's not going to pay their CEO $500,000 a year. Maybe they're only going to pay CEO $250,000. If they know what is adjustable in your profits and in your costs, they will be able to adjust your EBITDA, and they'll be able to give a different evaluation because you're actually worth more because, us business owners are doing things that the guy who buys you is not going to do. So if it's clean and clear, and I talked about that little red flag, guys, if they can't at a glance see good financials and they go to put their angry red flag auditor hat on, they will dig deeper, they will dig harder. So getting your financials clean and clear now is going to help because you need to have 5 years of proof. The proof is in the profits. Then you can eat your pudding. Okay, so to summarize up, we have the 3 Ps. You have your people, your process, and your profits. Okay? And preparing for your exit and isn't about selling your business today, but it's about being ready for when the opportunity comes, for when the right opportunity comes. So even though you might not want to sell right now, imagine if you had more time in your day. Imagine if you got to go home and spend more time with your kids. Imagine if you could sleep at night without stressing about what's going on in your business. Because getting your business ready to sell is just good business. So if you're not quite marriage material, if you have a few little red flags, that's okay. I want you to know, though, your business isn't getting any younger. So I don't really want you to wait until you have to make yourself really desperate out there for the right buyer. I want you to maximize the offers and opportunities that are coming to your doorstep. And if you want help, we have a special offer on our sheet here because you can get a free assessment. And we're going to start with your culture, and we're going to do a culture assessment. Start with your people, and we'll sit down with you an hour, and it'll tell you the results. And anybody who does it, we'll give you a ticket to our next culture event. We're actually going to talk about the 4 pillars of an engaged culture and building it into your business processes. And it's featuring Mark Groves. So I don't know if any of you know Mark Groves. Incredible speaker, author, and great time. I hope to see you all there. Guys, thank you so much.